Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So this week we're going to be discussing the reasons God removes people when it's time for us to evolve and grow. Learning the art of detachment, understanding that some people are in our lives for seasons and some people are in our lives to teach us certain things, and for my lonely introverted people too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in. I was reading my Bible this morning, and the Bible verse that I had pulled, because I've been struggling with faith, when you're in these seasons where you're not sure how you're going to pay your bills, you don't know how you're going to get by because things are getting worse for all of us. You go into fear mode, right? And one thing that I'm pretty sure that many people can relate to is having faith in God to have you in a situation that you can't see your way out of is the hardest thing that any human being can possibly do. This season, God is testing your faith because He wants you to become stronger in faith with Him. So when you're going through these seasons where everything's getting taken away and you're going through this fear of loss and grief of loss, and you're still struggling to give God, then you have to keep going back through the furnace. It's unexplainable how painful being in the furnace is. Yeah. I heard somebody say everybody wants the oil, but they don't want the pressing, and I felt that. You have people running around this world pretending that they are full of oil, but they didn't even go through the pressing. Those are the people God is going to judge. But when you are brought here for a specific mission, you have to learn the art of detachment, because certain people are placed here to move a lot. They are placed here as a temporary angel in your life, and you have to value that and appreciate that, because you never know how long you have with these earth angels. And a lot of times people abuse and mistreat these earth angels, not realizing that they're the most purest people on this planet. Absolutely nothing belongs to us. Nothing. And when you start living that way, when it comes to God, I seen something earlier where they said that many of us is going to have to start living like nomads, because what happens is you are sent here to go multiple places. You're going to be evolving your whole life. This painful experience that we're experiencing, evolving, that doesn't stop. It's continuous. It's a continuous flow. And you have to get used to that. You have to get used to knowing that when God is saying, hey, I need you over here this season, that you won't get too attached over here, that you're not willing to move your feet. Because see, we get too complacent and comfortable where we are because we love where we are, that we don't want to move. And so what happens is when we don't want to move, God will shake up what's over here to get your attention. Because most of the time, 99, matter of fact, 100% of the time, God gives us a warning before destruction. And sometimes we are stubborn. And you have to understand that God knows how it's going to play out before you know how it's going to play out. So you trying to lean on your own understanding on, well, how can this be better over here when I'm happy over here, or how, you just, all these scenarios come up in your mind where you're just like, this doesn't even make sense. and you're trying to piece it together. And sometimes you even try to find your own reasoning to stay. All I keep hearing is firm foundation. God wants to make sure that we have a firm foundation. He wants to make sure that you are ready, we are ready. Mentally, physically, spiritually, in partnership, in mothership, in stewardship. Because he is trying to use certain individuals. Really everybody. But these certain individuals God's calling on, these people are more than likely homeless right now. They're either fighting to pay bills, struggling, losing everything. I'm talking about everything. Those are the ones God's about to use. People always want to talk down on people who have a bad past, who's going through a lot of things, and you'll be surprised by the way that God uses these people. So just remember that when you're seeing somebody suffering or they going through something. This is a season where God is testing everybody's faith based off of their relationships, their friendships, their jobs, just about their purpose in totality. I think a lot what's happening right now, or what I feel is what's happening right now in the world, is that God is trying to call a lot of people back to him. And so he's making everybody super uncomfortable. He's breaking many of us, and I mean in ways where some people wouldn't even be able to handle. I've seen certain people living in their cars right now. They've had kids. They're living in bathrooms, gas stations and stuff. And it's just, this is where the breaking takes place. And God only does this to us when he's trying to get our attention, and he's trying to prepare us for what's to come. Prepare us mentally, physically, and spiritually for what's to come. Because many of us already feel the shift that is taking place in this earth. We all feel the shift that's taking place. And God is trying to give us the opportunity to choose him. To be quite honest with you, now is really not the time to play around with God. Now is really not the time to be comfortable with, your everyday routine and just being comfortable with the life that you have, and not really trying to step into God's will and purpose for your life, because I'm starting to realize that everybody is placed here for a very specific reason. So sometimes what God will do is, when he knows that you are distracted with something and he's trying to use you, he will take things from you that you love. He will take people, things, and hobbies, jobs, things that you really, really love, to get your attention. And he will do this until you completely break and you call on him to help you. Everybody is intrigued about what they're placed here to do, but have you went to God and asked him? We sit around and we try to create these hobbies and these interests that we have that's for fun in our day-to-day lives. But life is so much deeper. It's so much deeper. And we have to realize that however this plays out, y'all, as bad as things is, however things plays out. I did not do a closing out section for my video, but I did want to close out and not leave my last slide as a subtle pause, because it gave worry, which indeed I am very concerned about the state of our lives. So it lets you know that now really is not the time to not be living in your purpose. And it's very scary, because if I'm gonna leave with a bang, or however may it be, however God chooses it to be, I want to know that I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing in this lifetime, in this realm. All right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Until next time. Peace.